Hello and welcome to the Valley. Today I am your host, Janet Michael. It is Laurel Ridge Community College Day. I am back on the Zoom today with Guy Curtis. He is their Director of Marketing. Last month, Brandy Boyce and I chatted with Laurel Ridge Community College President Kim Blosser about some of the myths surrounding community college and Laurel Ridge in particular. And today, Jay Foreman is joining us again. He is their corporate training sales manager. And Jay, I feel like there's a lot of myths around what corporate training is. So I'm glad that Guy invited you back and that we're going to be able to get in the weeds on this a little bit more.
I was excited to be here, Janet, until I just realized that I'm following President Blosser. Those are big shoes to follow. So thanks a lot for not letting me know that before I accepted being a guest on the show.
And I have to tell you, Guy Curtis, full disclosure, I did tell Brandy that she could do the show every single month as long as she brought Kim with her when she came.
Yes, I totally agree. And to Jay's point, tough shoes to fill. She brought some great points that we probably haven't brought to the show before. But today, having Jay on, I think folks miss the thought of what Laurel Ridge is in terms of a hub and workforce development. And the corporate training unit of the college serves that in so many different ways. They're really a key driver in helping our region with that development side, supporting a wider range of employers and local government, healthcare, education, and manufacturing. They're meeting many of the needs in so many ways with training, but Jay has a few insights and thoughts of an emerging issue right now with employers.
Jay, we were talking before we started recording about employee retention and that you're getting a ton of requests from our local industries about how do they keep their employees happy and keep them longer. We hear about, oh, there's this job and there's that job. There's so many jobs available, but that actually leads into why people leave their jobs because they think the grass is greener, maybe on the other side.
That's a big part of it. Another thing that we're seeing these days is we just live in such a consumer-driven, instant gratification society. It's, hey, if I'm not getting what I want out of this right now, then there's something else out there I could go look at. Instead of the old mindset of old people like me, it was like, okay, let's stick with the same job. We love this job security. We'll have the bad days and the good days, but it's all good. And just a little bit of a different mindset, not better, not worse, just a different mindset with a lot of the younger generation these days.
Our generation thought it was quite an accomplishment to retire from a company at 40 years, say that they had been somewhere 20, 25, 40 years. That length of time isn't the same for the new generations now. I would assume that maybe it's rare to get somebody in their 20s to stay at a job for 20 or 30 years, but you want to keep them there as long as you possibly can, regardless.
Yeah, absolutely. And all you have to do is look back in your own family tree. Think about your great grandfather, mother, your grandmother or grandfather. A lot of them stayed in the same industry, the same job their entire careers until they got the gold watch and retired. Then you look at our parents and maybe you saw them have one or two or three different jobs, but a lot of it in the same industry. These days, it's just a different beast altogether. People are jumping not just to different jobs within their same industry, but is switching careers to something completely different as well. And we're going to keep seeing that. So one of the secrets these days into keeping people is to give them meaningful work, make them feel like they're making a difference in what they do. And I actually, if you indulge me, Janet, I have a list here. I made a list because we've been getting this so much. We wanted to look into this a little bit more. I have the top 7 reasons why people leave jobs or look for other jobs. Can I read in order?
Oh, yeah, we're going to go
to
old school Letterman here.
old school Letterman? I'm going to toss the cards when I'm done. So number 7 reason people leave jobs is there is not strong onboarding and not strong training. That's a big one. And we can go back and touch on these. The next one, there's not a lot of communication or feedback. Next, there's no career growth or path for advancement. There's not competitive compensation and benefits. There's not a positive work culture. There's not strong leadership. And the number one, they don't feel that they have a purpose and they're not engaged in their jobs. So those are the top 7 reasons people are looking right now.
And that is crazy when you do think back 10, 12, 15 years ago, the number one thing on that list would have been the compensation.
Yeah.
And that's not what keeps people or makes people leave as their number one reason anymore. Companies really need to look at the whole work experience in order to keep some of these employees employed at their place.
Yeah, because they're also, it's what they call a delayed adulthood right now. Again, that has a negative connotation, but it shouldn't. It's just different lifestyle choices. The younger generation is now waiting longer to potentially get married or to get their first mortgage or even the car payment. A lot of them are saving up and getting an old beater as the first one that they can pay cash for. And all that to say that they're not being tied down by having these debts, by saying, I have to work to make the mortgage payment on time. I have to work to make the car payment. I have to do this. They have that freedom now because some of them are still living at home or living with a bunch of different roommates to save money. So they're not dependent on, as you said, the competitive compensation and benefits. What means more to them these days is having purpose and being engaged and know that they're making a difference in what they do.
I do have to say that the number 7, not having proper onboarding and training, did not surprise me at all, because I think that's been a constant throughout the years, that you tend to just take the people as you get them. And most companies don't really do a great job of saying, this is what we want you to do. This is how we want you to do it. This is why we want you to do it that way. And here's where you go when you have questions or issues. Sometimes it's, hey, there's where you go and this is what you do and good luck.
We see it a lot, folks that try to do the right thing. And they said, you know what? We want to build people up. We want to promote from within. We want to build our own, take care of our own. And that's a great way to look at things. But what happens too often is people get promoted and then they're in this new position. And then it's just go do. And they're not trained up or not given the guidance that they need to be successful in this new role that can be very foreign to them, especially if you've never managed people, especially if all of a sudden your buddies yesterday are now people that report to you. We have a great course that we teach called Buddy to Boss. And it's one of those soft skills that you really don't think about until you're thrown into the mix, whether you're the new buddy or the new boss. It's a different dynamic that people have to be aware of and understand. How do you navigate these new waters with respect, keeping the friends, but also doing what needs to be done in the new role?
And those are skills that then seep out into other areas of these employees' lives. I know it was a big transition for me going from just being a board member of United Way to being the board chair. I'm like, oh, it's going to be the same. I'm just going to have to sign checks every once in a while. It is totally not the same. But having those kinds of leadership courses that my company has invested in me then help me go out into the community and do other things as well.
Yep, absolutely. They all bleed over. And let me just stop and say, God bless you being a board chair. I've always said, if you want to know if you can lead people, go lead a volunteer organization. There's no stick there. It's all carrot, right? You have to bring people along with you. So thank you for doing that. I know that's a hard position to be in. But to your point, you're exactly right. These skills that we teach, and we can tailor our corporate training to meet, whether you're a bank, whether you're a skilled trades or manufacturing company, we can customize these courses to you. But you're right, these soft skills bleed out into other areas of into the community, into family. They're not things that you turn off when you clock out at the end of the day. And the more that you use these and the more that you learn these, the more they become habitual and they become easier to use and really a way of life.
I would imagine a lot of what you hear on the corporate side is, yeah, but this is how we've always done it. And they don't necessarily think about that's why you get what you've always gotten. And if you invest a little more on the front end, you do keep that employee a little bit longer and save yourself on the back end.
Yeah, because a lot of times this is the way we've always done it, but then you help them to realize, yeah, and we've always had a high turnover as well. Sometimes it's time to look at it a little bit differently. And that's one of the things I love about being part of Workforce Solutions. We don't just come in and if somebody says, hey, we're having trouble with employee retention, we don't just come in and say, we have this great class called employee retention. We do have a great class called employee retention, but we don't come in and say, here's the cure-all for this. We sit down and do a needs assessment. We talk with the folks, with the CEOs of the company or the HR manager or the heads of the department, whoever they want to bring to the table in these initial conversations. Because what we find is the more that we talk and the more questions we ask and the more different layers of the onion we peel back, maybe we see that there's an underlying reason why people are leaving. It's not just a blanket, hey, what can we do better to keep employees? Maybe there's a specific root cause that we can get to the bottom of and help you with that. That's what we do. That's our skill set to come in and help folks see these things. I always liken it to, like, if I'm not feeling well, the guy mentioned earlier, he has a little bit of a cold today. If I'm not feeling well, I'll go to WebMD. Then if I call my doctor, I'm like, I just need this prescription because this is what's wrong with me. All of a sudden I'm an expert, but then they ask me one or two leading questions and it's something completely different. And that's what we need sometimes is someone, a subject matter expert in that area, just to lead us down the right path.
And And so much of it too is generational. Like you could have somebody who is of our generation managing a warehouse or managing some sort of facility, and they're like, oh, we lose employees because they don't like standing all day, or the warehouse is too cold, or the warehouse is too hot, because that's how they felt when they had that particular job. And they don't necessarily know that actually that's not the reason at all. So let's talk a little bit more about it. So there are a lot of options to consider.
There are, and you just made a great point. We're human, right? We all bring our own preconceived notions to the table. It must be too cold, like you said, because I think it's too cold in here. So that's obviously why they don't want to be here. But it's just asking those questions. And that's the beauty of it too. And that's in any leadership role, right? Asking the open-ended questions. You eventually are able to get to the diagnosis that you need to find for that. But it's just being able to invest in other people and ask those questions. The number one answer we talked about was purpose and engagement. This leads to the generational differences class we have that we offer sometimes, how all the different generations in the workplace can better work together and understand each other. Because we're seeing a lot of that, a lot of folks today to say, am I making a difference? I need to know that my role in this company is making a difference at the end of the day. And we all want that, right? To some degree. We want to know that we're making a positive influence in our jobs and in the world. But when we understand that that is a driving factor for other people, we change the way we lead a little bit. We tweak that to make sure people are feeling appreciated, and we're giving them the autonomy, hopefully, that we can to help them be involved and do what they can.
Let's take a break. When we come back, let's talk a little bit about what that looks like then from a training perspective. I think we talked about this the last time you were on the show. I had a conversation with Andrew, the station owner, and he doesn't know how to even talk to millennials and Gen Z. He's like, I don't know why they're doing this. And I'm like, it's because this, and this. Sometimes you have to train the people before you can train the employees. So, can we
Yeah,
talk a little bit about that in the next segment?
absolutely.
We are on the Zooms for Laurel Ridge Community College Day. Guy Curtis is joining us. He is Director of Marketing for the college. Jay Foreman is with us as well. He is Corporate Training Sales Manager for Laurel Ridge Workforce. We're going to come back and talk more about employee retention in just a couple of minutes.
This Tuesday, April Davis will change the world. She doesn't know that yet. All she knows is that she went to justserve.org and volunteered an hour of her time. Browsing through dozens of service opportunities in her community, April decided to spend her Tuesday evening serving dinner to mothers and their children at a transitional house. She doesn't know she'll be serving a particular mother and daughter who will be spending their first night in this home. April doesn't know that the hot meal she'll serve is the first this mother and daughter will have had in a week, or that the simple smile she'll offer as she serves them will help them realize that things are going to be all right. Which is why this Tuesday, April Davis will change the world. See the difference you can make. Sign up for service opportunities in your community. Visit justserve.org.
Back to the Valley today. I am your host, Janet Michael. It is Laurel Ridge Community College Day, so we are on the Zooms with Guy Curtis. He is Director of Marketing for the college. Joining him is Jay Foreman. Jay is Corporate Training Sales Manager for Laurel Ridge Workforce. We've been talking about employee retention, and Jay, we were talking during the break. I was telling you a story about an interaction that I had with Andrew at the radio station, and then right before we came back, Guy Curtis was talking about his daughters and their communication strategy of texting. And that's a big thing too, that I think a lot of employers need to understand, that this generation, that's how they communicate. They may not call in sick to work. They're not going to say, hey, do you have a second so I can sit and tell you where I'm having an issue? They're going to send a text or an email and expect you to understand it. That's not always how it happens.
Yeah, how we communicate and how we comprehend how people are communicating to us can be two very separate things. I used to, Guy talk about his daughter. My daughter's a little bit older than Guy's, I'm sure, but when she was much younger in high school, I would send her a text. And of course, I'm a middle-aged old guy. I'm writing, all my texts are written out, perfect grammar, punctuation's
Yes.
there, and I'll take 20 minutes getting a text out to her, and she'll respond with K. And then
Or
I'll be
emojis.
or an
Gosh, he used to
emoji.
send me entire text messages that were nothing but emojis that I had to decipher.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, exactly. So then I start taking offense to that. I'm like, oh, come on. But really, it's nothing for me to take personally. For us to take personally, that's just the way they communicate. They're looking at it. Hey, this is a more efficient, more effective way of communication. We don't have time to read your entire novel that you texted back to us here. So it's once we understand, and a lot of leadership is this. We have this in a lot of our classes: the why behind the what. Once we can understand why somebody's doing something, it's a lot easier for us to swallow the what, right? Once I understood, hey, this isn't anything personal. This isn't a slight on me. She doesn't have time for me. It's just the way that she communicates. She's communicating with me the exact same way she's communicating with her best friend at school. You know what? It's a little easier to swallow. And I understand I want to be respectful of her time. So I'm learning the IDKs, all that kind of stuff. That's my extent right there. That's the only one I know. Yeah, it's just understanding communication styles, not just what we bring to the table, but other people's styles as well. It makes all the difference in the world.
And that makes it also a little more difficult on your end because you do have to start that training with the boss, with management, and get them to understand that before you can even start implementing any other kind of changes within their employee structure.
No, absolutely. And that's a big one too. Once we talk with the shot callers, the people in charge, the ones that are bringing us in, we let them know here's what seems to be the situation right now. Here's what we can offer to help remedy this. But remember, at the end of the day, there has to be buy-in on this. If you have everyone that you're putting through this class say, okay, we're going to look at this in a different light here. We're going to try to do things a little bit differently. Here's how we can improve things, hopefully. They have to understand that, hey, everybody has to buy in on that as well. They have to support that after the fact because once upon a time, that was a big disconnect as well, right? And not out of any malice or ill will or bad intent. People thought they were doing the right thing and saying, okay, we're offering corporate training, we're bringing our folks through this, but then there was no follow up. And then they didn't say, okay, what did you learn? I'm just glad you went through it. But then there could be resistance after that, and people will start to get a bad taste in their mouths for any kind of training. Why are we going through this if it's not going to be accepted? So that's something else that we talk about up front. What does success look like to you from this class? Then we back into it from there. Okay, how do we get there? What's this look like? Not just when the training ends, but going forward as well. I've only been with workforce in a full-time role for about 3 or 4 months now, but I've truly seen this isn't a let us give you training and move on. This is a partnership for as long as people want to be with us. We want to be with them to help them along the way. So we have folks here that really care about what we do, and we want to share that love with other people.
That's the thing that I've always appreciated about your programs, your training programs in particular, is that you really do get in the weeds. There may be something that you've been told is happening because of whatever. And once you're there and you're talking to people and you're putting these training programs together, you may identify something that they didn't even know was going on or existing. But you're also able, after the training has happened, to go back and say, okay, so this is what we did, but here's what we heard. So we think we might need to tweak and do this a little differently. You don't just do, like you said, here's your program, good luck, Godspeed, and out the door you go. You're there for the long haul.
Yeah, absolutely. That's when you start making true differences, when you partner with people for a long time. And we want to be with folks as long as they'll have us there. And it goes deeper than that. We have a great young lady on our team named Diana Patterson. She's our product specialist. When we meet with folks, so we see, okay, what's the audience going to look like for this training? Who's going to be in the room? We have a great bench of instructors, but she handpicks and said, which personality is going to mesh best here? Who has the best subject matter expertise for maybe just one bit of what they're looking for? So I want to give her flowers here while we're on the radio. People don't see how much goes on behind the scenes with matching up the right personalities with the right groups. So we're not just teaching, but we're truly connecting with other people and making that deep relationship that people are going to be able to take something away from moving forward.
And it's not all sitting in a classroom style either. You're going to learn from those initial conversations that some people like to learn by doing. Some people have to write things down versus hear them once and be done. You can tailor all of these training programs to the people that you're training, not just here's your notebook and chapter 4 is what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, leadership training in general has a negative connotation. And I've known that for a long time. If I hear it sometimes, I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to sit leadership training again. But again, with the instructors we have here and the material that's not just cookie cutter, we talk to the organization, find out what they're looking for, then it can take days and weeks just to tweak this material to get to the point where it fits this person. It can never be used for anybody else again because it is tailored just for this one organization for this one topic. That's how much we put into the preparation for these. I always liken it to the circus, right? You go to the circus. Hey, you know what? You might like the lion tamer, but you don't like the trapeze artist. I like the monkeys, but I don't like the clowns, whatever it may be, because everybody learns differently, right? So you're not going to have one person standing in front of a class talking to you for 4 hours. No one wants that. I don't care how dynamic of a presenter you are. But then you have the hands-on, you have the group activities, you have whatever it's going to take to move that ball forward for this group in this organization. And what I've found too, what we really encourage, and we have great instructors that are good at having this happen organically, having people come out and share their stories as well, because we learn more when everybody shares. We can glean from different people. Some of the best conversations are, hey, you know what? That's great in principle, but here's what we're seeing in the real world. Then having different people share and having those discussions, because we can learn with someone else that's on the ground floor learning that. And also, not to take anything away from our instructors, because our instructors are truly adjunct. They bring a wealth of information and background. Like I said, we try to match up people that have this background, this banking background, this manufacturing background, this leadership background, whatever it is, so that they can truly understand. They're not just teaching you stuff that they've read, they're teaching you stuff that they've lived before too and can relate with you.
So many times, too, just being willing to offer the training to your staff is such a huge step forward. The training itself is, of course, invaluable, but just showing the people that work for you, hey, look, we're willing to invest in you. We're going to bring in Laurel Ridge Workforce, and they're going to figure out what we can do better and how we can help you. Sometimes that is all you need to keep people in place long enough to get through that training.
Yeah, they feel valued, right? That was number one. Give us engagement, give us purpose and engagement. And when people know that folks are pouring their cup into them, they're taking the time to invest in them, it goes a long way, because you're also giving them permission to learn something new. Because a lot of times you sit through a training class, you're going to hopefully take away something new, which means you can go try something new. And the employees are giving them that autonomy to open up and do that. That's what people are looking for. I always compare it to John Maxwell, the leadership guru out there. Years and years ago, I wanted to get certified in a leadership site. And I went, John Maxwell was one, and there was a whole slew of different leadership certifications you can get. And they all offered a lot of the same thing. But at the end of the day, most of them said, here's your script. Don't deviate from the script. John Maxwell was the only one that said, hey, I'm going to give you some great principles here, but unless they mesh with your personality, unless you make them your own, you're never going to be as successful as you can. The old phrase, borrowed beliefs have no power. These have to be yours. Make them yours. And that's what we're finding through this corporate training that we offer. People are taking away these great nuggets, staying ahead of the curve in whatever industry they're in, but then going to be able to make them their own. They match them with their personality to use in their specific environments. And that's where they're truly making a difference.
That's not always even centered in the skills that you're working with some of these employees on. Sometimes it is that broader picture. One of the things on your list was feeling like they were doing better, like they were making a difference, not just in work, but in the world. We were talking before we started recording that Dave Caring for United Way was a couple of weeks ago. There were over 475 employees from Navy Federal Credit Union that participated in Day of Caring. So we had almost 1,000 volunteers that day. 475 of them were with Navy Federal. I talked to a lot of them. Navy Federal pays them to go that day and do something good in their community. And from what I gather, it's a pretty internally competitive process to be able to sign up and do that. Those are things that you can identify with an employer and say, hey, did you know that your employees would love to go and do this, but they don't because they can't afford to take a day off or they want to do these things? It's not always A plus B equals C. It's sometimes that stuff as well.
Yeah, you know what's wonderful about that, and I can't say enough good things about Navy Federal. We work with them from time to time as well, but they are great because, like you said, they pay their employees to go out there and volunteer and get involved in the community. If you talk to any of these folks, what happens is, yes, they're giving them the opportunity to get out there, pay them to do this, but they may not have had the opportunity to do that had that not been the case. But they're finding that they enjoy serving. They're becoming so fulfilled by that they're looking for other ways to serve outside of work as well. And that's really becoming a way of life. It's becoming habitual. And they're just really grooming not just awesome employees, but just awesome community builders out there that are taking that out into where we live. So it's a wonderful thing that they do. I love that. It goes back to what you talked earlier, Janet, about all these skills that's bleeding over into all areas of our lives.
And those employees then remember who gave them that opportunity. So
Absolutely.
when they're having a bad day at work or they're considering that maybe it's time to move on, they're going to also factor in, well, they do this and I really enjoy it. And so maybe I should have a conversation with somebody before I immediately say, you know what, I'm done and walk out the door. Those buy you favor down the road sometimes.
Oh, absolutely. You remember the people that invested in you, that took time, whether it's their time or whether their finances, the ones that poured into you, you remember that and you appreciate that. And there is a sense of loyalty that goes with that.
So how do I start? If someone is listening today and they're like, wow, we have really not been doing as much as we could be doing. I need to call Jay. Is that what they do? Do they just call Jay?
Yes, it's as simple as that. We don't make this rocket science. Yeah, call me. My phone number is listed. They can email me. That's all listed on the site as well. Reach out, and it's as simple as, hey, I don't know what we're looking for. That's okay. Those are some of the best questions. We offer free needs assessments. Call me up. I come out. I meet with you, and we'll talk. We'll have that initial conversation. Maybe you know exactly what you're looking for. Maybe not. Either way, we can help you with what you're trying to achieve.
And then you have some upcoming webinars and events happening through Laurel Ridge Workforce as well.
We do. They're becoming very well attended, very popular. We're doing a monthly free webinars. The next one is this month, October 15th. They're always at noon. So this one is October 15th at noon. And it is a Myers-Briggs webinar. That's always a fun one, right? Understanding your personality, not just why you act the way you do, but why your coworkers are so crazy,
Right?
right? That helps you understand how to deal with them. It's great. You know, it's great when I started, and I've seen a lot of people do this. We offer MBTI and we offer DISC and all of those, which are some of my favorite classes. Because once it's done, a guy can attest, even here, all of our coworkers, we have a model on our walls in our offices showing what our MBTI is or what our DISC assessment is and what everybody else's is. So we know how to interact best with them. It's so great. We also have another webinar coming up on November 12th at noon. This is another fantastic one. We talked about communication earlier. This is conversations that lead to better teamwork. So those are the next two free webinars. Go to our website, sign up. We've had some fantastic presenters in these. And we also have a trades job fair on October 21st. I think we had it's well over 50 different vendors showing up so far that have signed up for that.
And it's here, right, Guy Curtis? It's here in Middletown on the Middletown campus.
Yeah, that's right. It's right here in Middletown. Just another great way we're serving employers. So I believe most opportunities as an employer are filled, but you want to reach out as soon as you can. If not, the college does offer many college fairs throughout the year, or also job fairs, I should say. And so, yes, October 21st, 4:30 to 7 o'clock. Anyone can attend. So if you're looking to get in front of an employer who's hiring today, please reach out and attend the event. It's free, no cost. But also there's going to be opportunity to explore our programs and learn more about how to get into those careers. So you might get a little bit of career guidance as well on top of it.
It's another one of those misconceptions when it comes to the trades is that everybody says there are all these jobs, but there really aren't. Yes, they are. You just have to know where to go to find them. And because we're coming into fall and winter, oh, yeah, I'm not going to work all winter because the weather turns bad and the trades don't work. Well, yes, actually, they do. Coming to things like this teaches you that what you thought you knew maybe isn't necessarily the right thing.
Yeah, exactly. And honestly, with the skilled trades still being in demand across our region, Frederick County, with so much growth that's occurring, they're always in demand and need. And it's an opportunity to explore. We were talking about soft skills earlier. We're actually encouraging some high school groups just to come out, or individuals who just want to brush up on their soft skills to introduce themselves, apply themselves, learn more about how to communicate face to face and not over text or email. So it's a great opportunity to come to the college to learn more. The great part about this is there's just another way that we're serving employers in our region. There's so many different things we do besides corporate training, and those are free assessments. But also, if you are in that tough situation of hiring, we do offer free job postings through the college career coach website. So that's a great way to get in front of a talented community of potential students and community viewers by posting free jobs to our career coach site, but also the job fairs we offer from time to time. And certainly the things that Jay does with corporate training, how we meet the needs of employers. Annually, it's usually over 1,000 employers each year that we serve in many different ways.
Wow.
Many of them repeat customers as well.
So where should they go, Guy Curtis, to get information about the trades job fair?
Yeah, if you simply visit laurelridge.edu and search job fair, trades job fair, you'll find it. And to register, you could also visit that site as well too. But for the webinars, laurelridgeworkforce.com/webinar, and you'll find the upcoming two as well as the previous recordings to watch and listen to.
Every time before we get on a Zoom with Jay Foreman, if you go to laurelridgeworkforce.com and just type Jay Foreman into the search bar, all of his information shows up.
It's easy as
I always
that.
double check that I have his title right before he gets on the Zoom with me. So I do it as a little bit of research and recon.
Yes, like Jay said, it's not rocket science to find us. Please Google us. We'll pop up right away. Or even ask your AI assistant, if you will.
Don't even get me started. Jay Foreman, thank you for taking the time today. I do appreciate it.
Oh, it's always a pleasure. Thanks for having me back.
And Guy Curtis, I guess I'll see you. Let's see, this is October, so I'll see you in December.
Maybe so. Depends. Brandy and I are thinking about not wrestling, arm wrestling, but perhaps rock, paper, scissors. Maybe that's a little bit easier.
Yeah, I did dime you out to her too and told her that you wanted to switch it to golf. And she said, absolutely not, because you have an unfair advantage.
I guess so. But I know she's working at it at the game, so maybe we can work something out here.
Well, thank you for being here today. I always appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having us, Janet. Always a pleasure.
I will be back tomorrow with a brand new episode of The Valley. Today we're talking to Conyer tomorrow. Chris Conyer, City Parks Director, going to give us an update on all of the things that are happening at Jim Barnett Park. So meet me back here for that just a few minutes after noon.